Hi, we're The Talk, where we talk about touchy subjects on a professional level.
On our show today, we have some guests from the Caring Services team in our college, and we're going to be talking about misconceptions of psychotherapy and mental health. I'm Leighton.
I'm Tamsin.
And let's talk.
What do you think of when you hear the word therapy?
Lots of people see the word therapy as quite a bad thing, simply because it kind of shows, if someone were to recommend it to them, that they have something wrong with them, and sometimes they could take it to an offense. But I personally see it as a way for help for someone that needs it.
I think of someone that can help, mentally, specifically.
What do you think of when you hear the word therapy?
I think of a quiet room with someone just talking about all their problems and issues to someone else. The way I picture it is like on a chair, just someone sat there lying down, talking to someone about their problems and all their issues in life.
What do you imagine a therapy session would be like?
I'd say it'd need to be a calm, warming, homely and welcoming environment, especially for someone who's in a lot of pressure.
I just think of someone just confiding in someone, just talking about all their problems, and just someone sat there. That's what I just think it'd be like. I think it'd be pretty quiet, and pretty calm.
It can either be intimidating, if the therapist likes to be more direct with his questions, or it could be welcoming if they're more laid back, I'd say. They take it easy on their clients.
Would you ever consider attending therapy? If not, why?
Probably will. I probably would consider it. It's just someone to listen, who's like professional, can give you professional advice. But yeah.
Personally for me, I don't think I need it because I don't have anything affecting me personally or emotionally. But for anyone in that position, I would recommend it.
No, because I personally believe that I am strong enough to deal with my own mental problems.
How do you feel about the treatment of mental health amongst young people?
I feel that for their age, it's good enough for what they need, but it can always do better at any point that it needs to.
I'm not sure about treatment. I just feel like there's a lot of people, young people now are getting more depressed and whatnot, and have anxiety. So I think help could be improved, or just people aren't talking to people. Like teens aren't bringing it up, so people don't know about it. But I think it could be improved.
I never hear from it, like from on the news and all that. So I think it needs to be heard a lot more, especially with this generation now, where people are growing up with violent games and TV shows.
And what do you think is the biggest mental health issue facing young people today?
Right now I think depression, because I personally know a lot of people who are affected by it. So I think therapy would be a good way to solve it, so it lets their emotions go instead of keeping it concealed.
I would say it's probably depression or anxiety, probably depression more. It's just, you get a lot of people saying, I'm depressed now, people getting sad easy. So yeah, probably depression.
I'd say it's between anxiety and depression. Those two are definitely the two giants that are kind of attacking the younger generation these days, because, well, they don't really know what they want to do with themselves anymore.
Okay, so now that we've got a bit more insight on our client ego therapy, we've got some guests here, Sarah and Pete, from our caring services team at college to talk a little bit more about mental health. Let's get right into this.
So thank you guys for coming on the show. It's great to have you. Our first question is going to go to you, Sarah, and that is, what do you think the biggest misconception of therapy is?
I think it's mainly what therapy entails is what people don't understand. I think that the media, especially in movies and TV programmes, has really given a slightly different version of what the therapy is.
Yeah.
It's very stereotypical therapy, as opposed to, you get films like Girls Interrupted and things like that where they're in mental institutions or homes, and that's what a lot of people think that therapy is. When in fact it's not, because mental health is so varied and there's so many different forms of it, and it affects people in so many different ways that there is no one set therapy that's going to work. Everybody needs various different things, so I think that's a big influence on it, definitely.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest mental health issue facing young people today?
I think it's probably the pressure of social media. I mean, when I was a young man, we didn't have the pressures that you have these days in order to fit in and conform. And if I went home from school or college, then that was that. There was no more interaction with my friends. But with social media, with all these platforms, Snapchat and Instagram, for example, you are constantly connected to what's going on. And through that medium, people feel they have to fit in, or people can't get away from bullying, which is a common cause of mental health anguish and distress. And then from that, people can't escape, so they choose routes like self-harm, for example. Social media.
Yeah, it's a very serious topic. And do you think that the main thing about social media is obviously like cyberbullying, or do you think it could also be through things like Instagram, just feeling pressured to look or act a certain way from celebrities and people like flaunting like things that they have?
Absolutely. I think in an article I recently read is saying that the filters that you have on some of these social media apps, which can remove blemishes and make you look thinner and change the shape of your nose.
Yeah.
People are now going to plastic surgeons saying, I want to look like this.
Yeah.
And that is impossible to achieve.
Yeah.
So there's that added pressure of trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Or trying to make yourself look not like yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's an additional thing as you talk about. So that's the image, but to go with that as well, you build an online persona, if you like, so about how you're always having a great time.
Yeah.
And then if you look at everybody's accounts and they're all having a good time, and you think, well, actually in my life I have bad things happen.
Yeah.
But good and bad things happen in everybody's life. People just don't put the bad stuff online.
No one's going to show, oh, here's me breaking up with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Here's me falling over. Like,
Yeah.
no one really does that. And I do find myself on Instagram looking for things, being like, how has this person afforded to go on this holiday? How has this person got these shoes? And I sit there in my bed with my cup of tea, just like, what am I doing with my life? And then I'm like, okay, don't get too invested in other people's lives and what they're doing, because you have no idea what goes on beyond the screen.
Absolutely.
So what should young people do if they don't know how to get help?
I suppose come to see us if you're at
Yeah.
college. That's
Yeah.
the easiest way. I mean, we have lots of resources that we can help them with. There's various apps that you can download in order to help
Yeah.
you combat your addiction to apps, if you like. And there's various charities that support young people to cope with mental ill health. And also we have a college counsellor and we have a college mental health support worker for those more serious issues of mental health.
Yeah, and of course people can go anywhere. There's nothing really to overcome, really. It's just you have to talk to someone, really. You have to,
I think so.
you have to
I think
put it out to someone.
definitely the best thing you can do is talk to someone, anyone. If you bottle it up, then that's only going to make things worse.
Yeah, and it will just build up until you do something bad, like you said earlier, like self-harm or something.
Mhm.
Then that's when it's gone too far and you really should have talked to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the longer you leave it, the worse it gets with mental health. That's the big thing
Yeah.
we find, isn't it?
Yeah.
When people come to us, if they've been feeling down for a week or two, they tend to be, there's more that we can do for people.
Mm.
As opposed to if they come 6-7 months of feeling like it, that's when it's more challenging to help them or
Yeah.
find the right route to help them.
Okay, our last question. Why do you think there is a negative stigma about therapy?
Again, I'd say the main reason is probably the way that therapy used to be. I think it's come such a long way. Obviously, I was only born in the 90s, so I've only had the last sort of 20 years or so worth of therapy. But
Yeah.
even from what I understood it as a child, it's gone so much. And obviously, if you go back to the sort of 60s, 70s, and even before that, obviously therapy was extremely different, and the way that they dealt with things were very different. And that was put up, you know, I mean, I've seen films and stuff of all these sort of social experiments that they used to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of the films, but some of them, you know, to try and tackle that sort of mental health issues.
Yeah.
And that, I think, gives a big stigma towards what mental health is when it's come such a long way now.
Okay, so thank you for joining us, Sarah, and thank you for joining us, Pete. We're going to cut to an advert now on Ego Therapy, who are the people we're working with.
Another loss.
Whatever.
You feeling alright?
I'm not really feeling myself recently.
You know, I can hook you up with my therapist. She just lives around the corner.
But isn't therapy just about lying on a couch talking about your feelings with some old person that doesn't even listen?
No, it's more like you can just go there and express your feelings, and they can talk to you about it and help you get over maybe some problems you're having in your life.
Alright.
I'll tell you what, I'll hook you up with my therapist. I'll give her a call. You can go see her next week, alright?
Okay,
Alright, let's go again.
let's go another round. So that was our advert for Ego Therapy, and thanks again for Ego Therapy for working with us.
And thank you to Pete and Sarah for coming on the show.
I hope you enjoy watching, and Ego Therapy's details will come up just after this. Thank you for watching the show. Goodbye.
Bye.